What's up everyone and welcome back to the Draft Dynasty channel. The people have voted in the comment section in the last video and the hidden gem was the favorite one, followed closely by Thomas Bordelot. Since Thomas Bordelot was the second favorite in the last two voting, I'm gonna do him right after this video. Let's get back to our boy Eamon Powell, and I'm guessing a lot of you are not aware of this player. He's not a player super popular around the social media. There's not many people talking about him, and that's why I decided to choose him. Let's take a look at his profile. So he's still only 17 years old. It's gonna be his birthday in a couple of days. 5'11", 165 pounds. He's a really small player, and I'm gonna touch that subject later in the video, but he's pretty weak physically. He's underdeveloped right now. Another thing, he is committed to Boston College, and this is a pro tip right here. Every time you have a player that is committed to one of the top college in the NCAA, usually they know what they're doing, and most of the time they did their homework on the player, and there's a reason why they pick him. Let's take a quick look at his stats. So this year he finished the year with 14 points in 43 games. Of course, it's not amazing stat. It's a bit harder to read the stat on Elite Prospect, so I'm gonna help you right here. You have a line USHL, so those are all his stat in the USHL, and here it's the combination of everything. So you have the game at the international level, the game in the NCAA, and the game in the USHL. So this means he got 11 points versus the USHL level and only 3 points versus NCAA in international tournament. And one more thing I want to add with the USNTDP program, I already talked about this in the Jake Sanderson video, but it's really a development program. It's a bit different in terms of ice time and the chances on the power play. They kind of spread the love around all the four line, offensively and defensively, so they get a little bit less ice time, let's say, than the CHL junior in Canada. Like the top player are gonna play way more than in the USNTDP program. Last year I think they played a lot more. Their top player like Zegras, Caulfield, Hughes, they were playing every power play a lot, getting more ice time. This year I think they switched more to the development and they gave chance to everyone. So by doing this, of course, it's really good for the player development, but the downside is that they don't get like amazing stat, and sometimes they get overlooked for the draft. But I'm sure the NHL are doing their homework and they are aware of that. So but for the general public, sometimes player in the USNTDP program, player that are playing third line, fourth line, they get overlooked. Before I start the video, you're gonna be looking at the number 2. He's one of the smallest player on the ice, so he's gonna be pretty easy to spot. So let's start the footage, and I do have a lot of clip on him because I watch around 30 games from the USNTDP program. I always enjoy watching the program, and it's very convenient because you get a bunch of relevant player, and it's a time saver. It's a good time investment because you have a lot of player you can watch at the same time. Let's take a deep dive into the clips, and as always, I'm not gonna change the recipe. I'm gonna start with the thing I like the most about his game, and with him it's the IQ. The hockey IQ is through the roof, and what I mean by that, there's a lot of thing that goes into that. So I'm gonna go through a list of the thing that I personally watch to evaluate the player hockey IQ and to know if he's a smart player. So first of all, the main one is the decision making. So is he aggressive when he need to be? Is he passive when he need to take a step back? You can also add into that the positioning. So where is he situated on the ice? After that, I break it down into different categories. So it's more about the little details of the game. So I have the active stick, the stick defense, the board battle, the anticipation level. Can he process the game fast? Can he see the play 2 or 3 seconds ahead before it happens? How many mistakes he's doing? Is he reliable defensively? Can he play on the special unit? So those are all things that I'm looking for and try to evaluate after that if he's a smart player. And for Powell, he ranked extremely well in almost all those categories, and I would say he's one of the best hockey IQ player in the whole draft. I think he would be in my top 10 if I made a ranking with all the smartest player. There's another player in last year's draft that I was really high on, and it was similar to Powell. He ranked extremely high in terms of hockey IQ in my evaluation. It's Zach Jones, and I had him 24th, I think, and I don't want to scream victory yet, but he had a very good year this year, and it's a bit of the same. So he scored really well in the little details, and I feel like this is something that is often overlooked because you really need to dig deep on the player and focus on him, and it's not just one play that's gonna wow you. It's more about the combination. It's when you put everything, that all the little details that they're doing, you put them all together, and this is what makes them great. And overall, someone with a great hockey IQ, it can go a long way, especially for a defenseman. And on a personal note, if I had to say, let's say, my best strength in terms of scouting and evaluating player, I would say it's finding those guys with high hockey IQ, because when I was playing, it was a bit my bread and butter, like the little little details, play defensively, the little things, and I think I have an easier time finding those guys because of that. With all that said, let's take a quick look more in depth at a few clips to try. I'm gonna try to explain what I like about him. So if I had to describe his game with only one clip, I think this would be the one. So first of all, it starts with a one-on-one, and he's a very good skater and he has good positioning. So he rarely gets beat one-on-one, even though sometimes the player are bigger than him. He's able to position himself at the right place and he's hard to beat. He's rarely gonna get beat by speed. Other than that, things that he does really well is that he knows when to join the rush. So he has a very good ability knowing when he can join the rush and when not to. And since he's a pretty good skater, he can get away by being a bit more aggressive at times. And he has a pretty good shot. His shot, there's a lot of whip in his shot. Yeah, he's not that strong, but for some reason there's some snap in his shot and it's pretty accurate. This is also a pretty impressive clip. When I was saying earlier, the anticipation level, can you read the play 2 or 3 seconds ahead? And on this clip, he's gonna see Jake Sanderson doing an aggressive pinch down low, and he's gonna have the presence of mind to back him up in front of the net, preventing an A++ chance right in front. So not all defensemen are gonna have the presence of mind to do that. And another thing that I noticed during the year, in the program, they switch around their pairing a lot. So he played with multiple different teammates during the year. And overall, I think he's a guy that's gonna be able to play with any type of defenseman. He's so smart, he's gonna be able to adapt to them. He's a guy that's easy to play with him. If you're the other partner with him, it's gonna be easy to play with this guy. I was extremely impressed how good he was in his zone, and the word I would describe is that he's crafty. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of time where he's facing bigger guy and for some reason he find a way to get away with the puck. Like he wins the battle versus bigger guy. And just take a look at this clip. So he's gonna get pressure and look how he's handling this. He's gonna go for a little drop pass. It's a bit hard to see and whoop, he's gone. And this is so sexy to see. Like this gets me excited. He's very crafty overall. He has a lot of little tricks in his bag. Speaking of tricks, there's another thing that he does very well, and it's his first pass. And he has a nice creativity with it. I would say he's one of the best in the draft to go for the bink pass. So he's using the board really well. Sometimes you don't have the passing lane, so you have to use your brain and create a passing lane. And this is something that he used to his advantage more than other players.
Doveroni put it into the USA slot area, cleaned up by Powell.
One more thing he does extremely well, it's the good old big stretch pass, the Hail Mary. So you always need to be on your toes with him because he is able to make that long pass and he can see the passing lane pretty well. So this all comes down to the hockey IQ, the vision. Those are all things coming back to the beginning where I said that he had good hockey IQ.
That's taken away. Here's Tuck over the line, scores! Luke Tuck. For you Red Wing fans, Ryan Martin is here. He's assistant general manager. Over the line. Swaggart playing it off the boards. It skips to the USA line for Powell. Justin Janicki, wide left wing, heading to the net. Score! Janicki!
Eklund över på vänsterkanten, dumpas ner. Graver försöker sticka, men då är den tagen utav amerikanerna.
I haven't talked about his offensive ability yet, so I'm gonna roll out a few clips that display his offensive skills, and I think he's pretty good. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna look at his stat and say, oh, he doesn't have a lot of offensive upside, but I think he's gonna be fine because if I look at his shot, his skating, his agility, his stick handling, his offensive instinct, it's all pretty good, so I wouldn't put too much weight on his stat this year. I'm not sure it's that accurate, and I think he's better than what the stats are showing. In terms of NHL projection, I'm gonna go with 2 players this time. First one, Ryan Ellis, smaller player with a good brain, and he's a guy that you really need to watch him closely to understand how good he is, and it's a bit the same thing with Powell. Of course, I'm not expecting him to be as good offensively. The other guy, I think it's gonna be more accurate with what Powell can be. It's Matt Grzelcyk, and this guy, he had a similar path as well, so he played in the USNTDP program, U17, U18, and I think he played 4 years in NCAA and 1 year in American League. So I'm expecting a similar path for Eamon Powell. He's more of a long-term project. You're gonna have to be patient with him. But in the end, if he can become a really reliable D number 4, 5, that can do a little bit of everything. So in my opinion, he would be a good value in the second round. If he's available in the third round, I would jump on that because I think he could become a very serviceable defenseman.
Point Sanderson back top the left circle for Powell. Sanderson gets the shot, fired it wide, and they score!
One last thing that I was extremely impressed, at the tournament under 18 Five Nation versus Finland in a shootout, so a big important game. The coaches decide to put him on the ice in the shootout, and I was shocked by that. So probably he must have scored a lot of good goal in practice, and the coaches noticed that. But he went versus none other than Joel Blomqvist, who's probably one of the best goalies in Europe right now, third or fourth, I'm not sure. But that's not it, because in those tournaments, after 5 rounds, I think you can put on the ice the same player, and they actually put Powell again one more time, and he did the exact same move and it worked, and they put him on the ice a third time for the win, and he scored again. So talk about big balls and the ice in his vein. The guy is clutch, and I'm pretty sure right now the goalie Joel Blomqvist is having a nightmare about Eamon Powell. But yeah, that was really clutch. Let's switch it up and maybe talk about the thing that is gonna need to improve, because I haven't talked about that much yet. But of course, I said earlier, he's really weak physically. He's not a big guy, and of course this is gonna be something that he's gonna need to work on a lot. The good thing is that since he's going in the NCAA, it's probably the best road for him, given what he needs to improve. There are some players that they need more experience, more mileage, but since he got a pretty good IQ already, for him it's not about really playing a lot of game. It's gonna be more playing less game and focusing on training, weightlifting, and the NCAA is good for that. He's also gonna be playing versus bigger guys, so it's gonna be a big challenge for him adapting to that, the physicality of the player. He struggled a little bit this year, so we'll see in the next couple of years how he adjusts to that. But typically those are the type of player I like to target, the one that are a bit on the younger side, not fully mature physically yet, and there's not a lot of red flags in their game. If you look at all his individual ability, like the skating, stick handling, his shot, I think those are all good, and getting stronger will only improve all of that, because he's 165 pounds right now, so he's easily gonna gain 15-20 pounds, and this is gonna give him a big boost. He's not gonna be the same player. One other thing I want to clear up is that he's not scared at all to take a hit to finish the play, so he's gonna do whatever it takes. And also one more thing is that a lot of the time he's facing bigger guy, but he still find a way to win a high percentage of one-on-one battles. So sometimes it's surprising. So his lack of physicality is not holding him back that much. Before we finish the video, I just want to say a big thank you to all the subscribers that take the time to write down comment and watch the video. I get so many good positive feedback. This keeps me motivated, and it's really nice. The overall hockey community is great. I'm impressed with that. There's always positivity, just a bunch of people that like hockey and young prospect that gets together. I just like it. For the next video, I have a surprise for you. So it's not a hidden gem, it's just a player in the first round that I did not do already, so I'm not gonna say right away who it is, but probably in a couple of days. Be sure to look it up. I'm gonna upload it after the little surprise video. I'm gonna do the one on Thomas Bordelot, and I really think you're gonna like this video. First, I have a ton of clips on him, and he's a really skilled player, and I'm not sure many people know him that much. And finally, if you have a question related to any player in the US NTDP program, since I've watched a lot of games, I have pretty strong read on a lot of them. So if you are curious on some player, go ahead and ask me a question in the comment. I'm gonna do my best to answer you. This is it for this one. As always, smash the like button and see you on the next episode. Bye.